It is the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network. And, we got a big one planned for you. We'll have some Baylor Auburn is getting closer by the minute. And we are, a little more than 24 hours away. And tomorrow, I want to remind everybody the Green and Gold Game Day Show. You see it on TV, KWTX, but our YouTube page is a great place to go. And just do the Green and Gold Game Day search, and I think you'll come across. And because of Game Day, Green and Gold Game Day, our own Scotty Swingler, I think Scotty is he is producing, directing. He's made himself one of the stars of the show, as he should. I've got no problem with that. But today, he has stepped aside, and the Z-Man himself, Zach Burke, man who loves to wear a Texas Rangers ball cap. Really, I've never seen him without it. Zach, is there hair under there? Is that? Do we have some under there? Okay, still
it's terrible, but yeah.
No, there's some under there. All right. Some of my buddies that are constant cap wearers, it may be because they've lost some. Fortunately, that's not my case. I just like having them on. And Zach, tonight or today, I'm honoring the LH is for Lake Highlands. And Lake Highlands gets going tonight against the Forney Jackrabbits. We'll invade. And as I look out my studio and I look outside, I can see the stadium about a block and a half away. And so we'll just walk. And of course, as only the Mosleys can, sometimes we'll get in the car and go try to park, even though we're literally like 200 yards away. Let's go park over there. Do we really want to walk? Which is crazy. But it got I always do this. So in the past, I've missed the season ticket thing, and I've got a guy at the ticket office. Zach, it's good to always have a guy in life, right? I've got a guy, absolutely, Richardson, RISD, and he always hooks me up. And this year, I waited way too late because my daughter, who was the varsity cheer captain, is now a freshman at Texas A&M. And so I thought, do I really need season tickets to high school? And of course, now that it's game day, I'm like, yes, I got to be over there. This is what we do. Like I can't just stop going to high school games because my daughter's not cheering. So that would be kind of sad or weird. I'm still invested in the program. And then Z-Man, you'll be glad to know, and I'm sure you'll get pulled into some of this. We'll do some Boneyard podcast. We'll do a Lake Highlands podcast this year. And you've been involved in that in the past. And so you've got to know the head coaches at Lake Highlands. And so that'll be fun. And what we'll be doing this year is expanding our reach in the Metroplex. In fact, that Champions, I think it's called Champions Radio or Championship. I think it's Champions. We're actually partnering with a big player in the Metroplex. And the head of that deal, Thomas Lee, taught my daughter algebra or whatever the math course it was. So everybody's tied in.
Small world.
And yeah, you know how that works. Now, Z, tell me about your day. The Z-Man is, now, Z, there was a scenario where I thought you and I might be working together on a daily basis. I would say if Scotty has his fill, which he may already be there, you still may get your dream to work with me on a daily basis. But I thought at one point it was headed that way, and I was really excited about that. But Scotty is one of those guys, like, he is a ball hog. And so he'll be like, well, I got the Pete show. I want Mosley too. And so I assume there was a huge fight over me. And right now he won. Z, did you not fight hard enough to be with me?
Wow. The way you put it like that, it makes it sound like, it's some weird Oklahoma drill where the coach has just thrown the ball out and said fumble and we're trying to get to it first. And Scotty had the head on the swivel. No, it's one of those when you're like, prize running back cannot be stopped. You don't just randomly in the third quarter just start to air it out. You still, let them have the ball and take it. I don't want to get in the way of just the performance that he's been putting up and been knocking it out. So
okay.
You have to know when, as a team, I know the hot topic seems to be a lot with this, Cowboys documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
Team, you had to have Aikman be able to shine.
Yeah.
Be able to shine. Or it's one of those situations, Irvin be able to shine. So
who am I in this analogy? I would like to think I am. Am I Jimmy? Like, yeah. I'm kind of like, I put the team together. No, maybe Corey gets to be Jimmy.
Oh, but
who's Jerry? Who's Jerry? Like I'm presiding over a lot of this. I feel like, it is the Matt Mosley show.
It is. That's why I was thinking you would be more Jimmy then, but
okay, maybe Aikman.
Yeah, that could work too. Because I just don't know if Corey and Jerry have the same kind of demeanor. That just
no,
yeah,
no. Both very talkative. Both pretty outgoing. There are some things, but probably a different management style between Corey Dickman and Jerry Jones, I would say. But
I would think for sure.
It is weird to think that an entire dynasty that the Cowboys had was blown up. Like, I thought, first of all, I love Barry Switzer, and he is somewhat of a friend of mine. I can get him on from time to time. I had him on one of my other gigs. I had him on recently, and we'll get him on here because I worry a little bit about 86-year-old Switzer getting on the stream. I worry about myself, okay? And I'm much, much younger than that, getting on the stream. Scotty told me, Z, that that would be okay for people and the stream would work. And so far it's been fine. But again, I'm the biggest worry in all that because every day, I'll get on the stream and something will be weird about the video and it'll be totally my fault. But I'm like, oh no, this isn't going to work. And I'll get out and I'll get back in and it'll usually work, reboot and reboot. But first of all, Z, have you watched the Cowboys documentary? Have you been watching it to educate yourself on the 90s Cowboys?
So I watched the first episode. I still need to sit down and watch more of it. I have a little one that's about to be 10 months. And the past couple weeks, he's been just growing and teething and been a fussy little mess. So I haven't had a lot of extra time to do much anything else. But I have, and I know obviously it's a completely different work. I've read Jeff Pearlman's Boys Will Be Boys book. That he wrote that covered it a lot. And I've been blessed enough in my years of being able to cover, all things sports, of being able to hear stories and being able, to hear people that played there tell it. So I enjoy that story and I love everything there is. I am interested to watch more to see if there's something that I still don't know. But no, I need to watch more of it. But what I've watched so far, I've enjoyed. I like that time, and I'm always a guy who likes to see how the sausage is made, for lack of a better analogy. So I want all the behind the scenes, this is what led to this trade. This is what, led to this decision. I love
it. There are things that I kind of vaguely remember because a lot of what was happening in the 90s. So when Jerry bought the team, I was still in high school. And then in the 90s, at the Super Bowls, I was at Baylor. And we would go to Paparolo's for the Fijis. We'd get together and go have a Super Bowl watch party. And those days were fun. Last night's episode brought back a weird memories. They may not touch the fact that the reason Troy Aikman truly hates Skip Bayless is, and I don't know, this hasn't come up in any of the episodes I've seen. Skip Bayless, who now I guess is launching something new on whatever Underdog, who knows what it is. But anyway, okay, so Zach, for those of us that didn't, I grew up in the Metroplex, so I know this. Mm-hmm. Bayless was a famous newspaper columnist, and he was at the Times Herald, and when the morning news won the newspaper war and basically killed the Herald, some people from the Herald came over to the morning news, and Skip Bayless was one of those. And Skip was, he was the original clickbait. Now, what's sad is, at one point, Skip Bayless was an extremely talented writer, But now people just know him as the over-the-top opinion guy, clickbait, stupid, acts like he's a Cowboys fan. All of that is fake. I mean, like, he, back in the day, is the one who kind of started the rumor that Aikman was gay. And that was at a time in the 90s, Aikman was a god in Dallas. And, like, man, that whole thing, and so that's obvious one reason why Aikman was very mad. What I had forgotten about, because Aikman, again, not that we have any problem with anybody that's gay, we're just saying that Aikman was not. And that's a pretty, especially in the 90s, to say that about somebody that's the star quarterback of the Cowboys and not have any basis of it was a really rough thing for Aikman to deal with. So you can see why Aikman hated Bayless. I'm giving people, Z-Man, some background on all this. The other thing that I saw that I'd kind of forgotten about, and I kind of remembered now, and it brought back memories, was that Aikman, because Switzer was so soft on players, Aikman had to take Jimmy's place as the rear kicker, as the guy that was screaming at everybody and going crazy. And so somehow it got going around that Aikman only screamed at the black players. And so then there became this rumblings and stories, and I had forgotten all this, of, is Troy Aikman a racist? And in this, they were talking about that, and they asked Aikman about it, and of course, and what ended his relationship with Switzer? By the way, Switzer's the one who brought him to OU back in the day, and he ends up breaking his leg, and he transferred to UCLA. But Switzer loved Troy Aikman, and Aikman loved Switzer. But by the time Barry showed up in 1994, after the whole Jimmy thing ended after the 93 Super Bowl, Switzer was a different person. And he was like 7 years removed from coaching at OU. And this team needed to be whipped into shape, and Jimmy could do that. Barry, who was a little bit older than Jimmy and Jerry, could not. That was not his personality. But, man, that was interesting to watch, because what I had forgotten is Barry called Troy in and got onto him for basically getting after Kevin Williams and embarrassing him on the sideline. Kevin Williams, one of those games, was dropping everything in sight, and it wasn't completely out of character for Aikman to just go off on a player, black, white, or whatever. I mean, and I think the racist stuff on Aikman was so baseless. The only reason it took root was because I think some Cowboys players might have been whispering, and he's from Henrietta, Oklahoma. And there was this like, oh, Aikman's from this little backcountry town in OU. Maybe this somehow fits. I think it was ridiculous. And fortunately, in this documentary, Emmett and Michael and Nate and anybody else and Haley, they've got Troy's back on this. And Haley even said, do you think I would have ever talked to Troy Aikman or had a relationship with him if he was racist? So as wild and crazy as Haley was, at least in this documentary, he had Troy's back. What Troy tells the story of is Barry brought him in and said, hey, other players are saying you're a racist and you only talk. He didn't say the racist part. He said, they say that you only holler at black players. And the minute Barry did that, it ended their relationship. And even though they won a Super Bowl together, I mean, there was no love lost. And I think Barry, it's one of Barry's great regrets. Barry also told a little bit of the story. And Zach, I'm always doing this with Scotty, and then I do it with another guy that I do stuff with that are kind of in y'all's age range. I always am like telling y'all things that I think you're pretty good, Z, and Scotty's pretty good at this too. about filling in the holes of things that happened before you guys were born. But one thing you would enjoy, well, there's two things. You probably need to go back and read Friday Night Lights if you never did. But Buzz Bissinger wrote about Odessa Permian.
Yeah,
did you read the book?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done that, and you need to read Barry's book. Barry's memoir is called "Son of a Bootlegger's Boy."
Okay.
No, son of a bootlegger. Yeah, something like that. Son of a boot. That sounds kind of weird, but the title is weird. In fact, I'm looking around my bookcase. I have it up here somewhere. Son of a bootlegger's boy. And that really tells the story of like how remarkable it is. I mean, Switzer, like what happened to his family and his mom when he was in college and how her life ended. Whoa. So Barry Switzer could have ended up like nothing. He came from nothing. He came from a really rough family situation. And then the way his mom's life ended was just brutal. And it could have just ended Barry right there when he was playing at Arkansas. And yet he went on to be one of the top 3 or 4 best college football coaches ever. So, but he was not I mean, some people argue that he was right for the Cowboys. I'll always wonder what they would have done with Jimmy. I mean, and maybe it would have blown up later. I mean, Jimmy and Jerry was always going to blow up. But if they could have hung in there for like 3 more years, because then you might have gone back to back to back. And then let's say you get the 4th, you could have gone back to back to back to back because they won 3 out of 4 and Jimmy wasn't around for the final one. So you can tell, Z, all these stories are bringing back so many memories for me. Yeah.
It's just funny just to add on to it of how much my day, because you asked how my day was, how my day has kind of revolved around this in an odd enough way that this is kind of the 3rd time that Troy Aikman's love life, for lack of a better term, has been brought up. Lori Morgan is playing in town tonight. So it has been brought up not only multiple times, I think Pete and I talked about it too, which is just funny to me there when you brought up the whole Skip Bayless and everything there with that. But I love like the stories like this though, and the feeling and seeing why, you know, decisions were made, because I think it's easy to look at the situation and then be like, oh, like, because we've heard all the time of, you know, like how Barry Switzer was different as a coach compared to Jimmy and how the players, you know, kind of took that differently and things like that. But I think it's easy to see those sides of the story because that's what we've been told, you know, forever. And then being able to step back and see everything else that builds the full story of why, you know, coaches are the way they were and players are the way they were. And usually when you have that full picture, then things make more sense for the most part of like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. You know, Aikman wasn't yelling at everybody. He felt the need to be more like Jimmy since, you know, Switzerland wasn't, things like that.
It just hit me, Z, that you remind me of Stephen Simcox, which is like the biggest compliment I could pay you because he is like Steven, my favorite like producer ever. And there's something about like your delivery and just kind of your style. There's a little bit of Simcox involved and well, thank you. To make me feel old, he was an intern when I was still working at the radio station. So maybe maybe Simcox, I got a little bit of Simcox, or I don't know how to say, I influenced him a little bit. There you go. Yeah, maybe so. But I think for better or for worse, he might call me one of his biggest influences. And I may have driven him right out of the profession. Although there's other people who are tougher to work for than me, which you can attest to. But I said this to Scotty recently, but I used to be, you got the mellow Mosley. There was a time in my 30s, Dallas radio, 103.3 FM ESPN, that it was, and again, all these people who work for me or with me, we've ended up being great friends over the years. And so there's no like bad blood, but Lord help. I look back on that and go, why was I like that? Like, why were those things? And it was some of it was passion, but some of it was just not managing my ego, and you just want things to go right. And if somebody wasn't doing what you thought was the perfect way, but oh my gosh, I do remember a young guy bringing me into a room. He was in there cutting some audio, and he's like, something like, Mosley, he's like, everybody walks on eggshells around you. And I was like, good.
I don't know what it is, and I'm not saying this, but like being around it long enough, I think some of it is, oddly enough, kind of the profession in a way too. I think it just draws out the most of, because usually if you have like a good group, of everybody covering, you want it to be the best that you're doing. You're just trying to make it, and it just brings out that I don't know if it's a type A, but you can look at it with athletes too. Like, Jordan wasn't the best teammate, but he got better.
Yeah.
Kobe mellowed there towards the end. Like, it happens to everybody.
Too much testosterone, too much ego, too much. That's why now that they do these like low T things, I'm like, nobody in media should go get that, because like, and now I'm probably scaring off sponsors, but like, we already are just wired to an extreme. Yeah. And again, I realize that there are levels and you need to be at certain levels or whatever. But I do remember having one of those huge physicals where they look at everything when I turned 40. And it was like this massive workup. And I was kind of interested in that. I thought, I wonder, given some of my tendencies and because most people that just hang out with me and have known me for years would describe me as extremely laid back, hopefully funny, fun, they didn't see the radio Mosley side of me, but I wanted to see after that full workup, like what my levels were. And let's just say I did not need help in that. Everything was okay. Now, maybe I've just recently entered the 50s. I might need help. I might need a little shot of something. Who knows?
I remember the old Sean Green quote, who played for the Dodgers and for the Blue Jays for a bit. And it was, I think he just said, we all get nicer when we get older. So maybe there's just something with that then too.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen it with some people. Yeah. In the Z-Man too, I'll tell you who does not get nicer as he gets older. He just gets more and more difficult. And he's one of my great friends, is Werder, who you've worked with because you also have worked on the Doomsday podcast. And Zach, there's other people who have not endeared themselves to Ed over the years. Zach has, because Ed, I mean, if you produce and you turn like our podcast around quickly, and like get us links, like Ed's the nicest, easiest, like you're like, I love this guy. I don't get what people say. I always try to caution people that do what you do, Z, because what they'll say is, oh yeah, I can get this to you in an hour. And invariably what they might mean is 2 hours or 3 hours. If you tell Ed Werder that it's the same thing with like paying him or anything. If you tell Ed Werder you're going to get him something, and I told somebody one time, I heard him say, Ed, we'll get that to you next week. I'm like, that better be there waiting on him next week, or it's going to be hell to pay. And I've talked to him before about expenses and stuff. I'm like, did ESPN pay you back the next day? No, you had to wait like 2 weeks on things. Like, why are you? And I used to, like, even my buddy Tim Calishaw, who I used to do radio with, he was dating again in his 50s or maybe even early 60s. And I remember telling him the advice. He was going out with this girl from this younger woman that worked in radio. And I was just like, I was kind of halfway serious. I was like, whatever you do, don't be yourself. Just don't be, don't. How you're always telling people, just be yourself. I was like, Tim, whatever you do, don't be yourself. Be somebody different, but don't be a little more outgoing. Try to be like normal is what I was trying to convey to him. All right. Cause I want to have time to do, and then as we get in the 2 o'clock hour, we got a little flexibility. with this, but we do have an interview coming up. We got Baylor Auburn tomorrow. I did see the concession stands. The Baylor concessions announcements have come out, and there's some good offerings. I feel like the McLean Stadium has upped their game. I don't know who runs all this or who makes these decisions. I would say Baylor has some hand in it, and then whatever group they do concessions with. But hey, some Rudy's.
Ooh.
A little Rudy's, okay. Some Rudy's barbecue. Now, there are other barbecue places in town that I might, but I got no problem with Rudy. If Rudy's wants to show up and have some barbecue offerings at the game, I'm not opposed to that. Now, Z-Man, earlier today, and I sent this to you and Scotty, I just happened to kind of be surfing around looking, and ESPN opened the Get Up show today with a thing on Micah Parsons. Now, Z, you and I, and while I'm doing live radio, occasionally if you need to look down at your phone, I'm fine with that because I think as now that we're 7 days away from the Cowboys season, we got to keep a close eye on the Micah situation because it's going to either get worse before it gets better or it'll get better in about 2 days and he'll show up and start working out. I don't know what he's going to do for this first game. The fact that he got on a plane and was going to look at maybe something for his back makes me think, I hate to say this, but using a potential injury to sit out another game or sit out the first game. And this thing is going to get maybe uglier before it gets better. And I think in a lot of ways he's undermining this new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. But Z-Man, this Get Up show, which is Mike Greenberg and whoever else they have that day, Dan Graziano is on there. And that's who replaced me at ESPN.com many years ago. I was doing the ESPN, the NFC East blog. I'd done all that stuff for like 5-6 years, and my time ended there. And Graziano comes in, and maybe I should have done something different because Graziano's like on national TV all the time now. But you'll hear this is how ESPN works. You'll hear him give like several scenarios of how he thinks this Micah thing can go. And then next thing you know, like the reactions to this start to become that he's quote reported that there is a trade afoot like that. And he never says that, but this is how things work. By the time this show is over, the other shows are sort of reacting to this as if somebody's reported that there's trade talks involving Micah Parsons, which is not what he says. But I do find this interesting, and I want to be able to react to it. So, Z, let's play for our folks a little bit. We won't play the whole thing, but a portion of today's Get Up show, and then we'll react to it.
The NFL season starts a week from tonight. The Super Bowl champion Eagles will host the drama-filled Cowboys, and Micah watch remains very much in effect with the looming question of will he or won't he play. Candidly, will he or won't he even be a Cowboy by that time as we inch closer and closer to a resolution? Graz, what are we hearing?
I feel like there's been a little bit of a turn in the story to the point where, based on conversations we were having yesterday and last night, that a resolution feels like it might be pretty close. Now, what that resolution is, I think is still up in the air. It could be a deal between him and the Cowboys, a long-term deal. It sounds a little unlikely considering how little work has been done on that recently. It could be that he decides to show up and play on the fifth-year option, play it out, and then dare them to franchise him next year, which I think they would. It could be that he continues to sit out and says his back hurts. He went and got a second opinion on his back yesterday, so that could be, preparing for that sort of argument. And then there's the possibility of a trade, which I think, a week ago I would have said was not a possibility, but now I think we're at a point where you can't rule it out. This thing has dragged on long enough, and I think there are teams that have called the Cowboys and said, are you interested? And I think when the answer used to be, no, we're not trading him, now it's like, well, what would that look like? And so, we'll see. But I think in the next couple days, maybe, by the end of the weekend, we could have some resolution on this. one way or the other.
By the end
I just don't feel comfortable predicting which way.
Of the weekend. So again, bear in mind, we are, and you see Mike Tannenbaum popping up on your screen here. Mike T, good enough as our resident GM to jump in with us on short notice when we started getting this from Dan. We thought to ourselves, let's hear directly from Mike T. So as you hear Dan reporting that it's getting closer, take us inside the building. You have a sense of the conversations that would be happening both inside the Cowboys building and maybe others with this thing working its way towards a resolution. Give us a sense of what you expect here.
Sure, Greeny. From a Dallas Cowboys standpoint, outside of the George Pickens acquisition, who's on a one-year deal and obviously a very good player, you could make the case that, hey, we have a rookie head coach. We're in the first year of a rebuild. We have a quarterback that's under a long-term deal, but we've lost the DeMarcus Lawrences of the world, the Jordan Lewises of the world. And if we're going to rebuild and we could get multiple first-round picks and a good young player, we have to consider it. And ironically, Greeny, there is a gap in the schedule where there's a little bit of a bye week outside of Philadelphia and ironically the Cowboys, where teams like Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Detroit, teams that could consider trading for him, have a couple of days here where they could put together their best package. So if I'm Jerry Jones, I am calling those teams and say, hey, give me your highest and best offer within the next 48 hours, and we're going to get this resolved one way or the other.
All right, and so this is exactly the moment in which it gets done as we sort of consider the urgency of the situation. What stands out to me, Mike, in what you just said is, and we've had this conversation before, if in March the Cowboys had made the decision that Mike Tannenbaum is talking about, you know what? Right now, the Eagles look unbeatable. The Commanders are on the come up. We need to start this thing over again. Let's make Micah Parsons our next Herschel Walker. Let's trade him and build around that. That would have made sense to me. I actually was advocating them doing that. But we know that isn't what they decided. Right, Mike? We know that because Jerry Jones has told us that he himself negotiated a long-term contract with Micah Parsons and then sent it to the agent who told him to stick it you-know-where. So if they do decide to do this, Mike, it would be because it got to this place. It wouldn't be because that was their original intention.
That's exactly right, Greeny. And once TJ Watt got done, and we've talked about this quite a bit, it's $42 million a year. He's a great player. If they don't want to pay that bill, then go out and get as many assets as you can in return. And again, if Green Bay, as one of the teams that Dan has reported, is offering multiple first-round picks and a good young player, be it Edgerrin Cooper, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, amongst others, then I'm calling Tampa Bay, I'm calling the Buffalo Bills, and I'm saying, I need your best offer. And to your point, Greeny, maybe I get a Herschel Walker-type return. I believe in Brian Schottenheimer. I have Dak Prescott, and we rebuild. But it's fascinating that we've gotten here because once TJ Watt was signed, of all the deals, Terry McLaurin, Trey Hendrickson, to me, this was the easiest one to sign. For whatever reason, Jerry Jones
hasn't been able to do it yet. We lost Mike T's feed, but I think you get a sense of where he was going to go with that.
All right, there it was. And Z-Man, I just find that kind of interesting that the reporting on that goes from, well, I think this thing's coming to an end. It could get a new deal. They could let him play on the current, or they could trade him, which was really the only three options, or we could think of a fourth and fifth or something like that. And then by like the end of that, they're all reacting to like Dan's reporting that there's trade talks happening. And he has to come back in later and go, guys, that's not what I said. I mean, they're on a set together. He's a longtime reporter, and basically he's just giving his opinion on these are three different things that the way this could go. And the reason this trade thing is starting to be talked about, Z, is because I guess there was someone, again, there's so much fake news that happens that it's like, it's hard to know what's real or whatever, but apparently there's enough smoke with the Packers to suggest the Packers have actually had an interest. And by the way, who wouldn't have an interest in the best pass rusher in the game? Like, why in the world? And again, none of this is like shocking. TJ Watt got $41 million a year. Jerry said he would have made Micah the highest paid. So there seems to probably be an offer on the table in the $40 to $45 million a year range. But Jerry, on top of trying to go straight to the player, in doing that, he insulted the agent. And so they have undermined, and all of this is happening while Brian Schottenheimer is trying to establish a new culture, more energy in the program, more accountability. And last Friday night, I mean, think about this at the high school level, even the collegiate level. Think about how embarrassed you would be for your team if you looked over there and a player was napping during a game. A player was lounging on the table, the trainer's table. It's an embarrassment. So right now you have an owner and a player, and both of them have embarrassed themselves. And then this latest thing, which is not really a report. We're now so desperate for news in this situation. We're saying that somebody just saying, well, there could be a trade. That could be part of the possibility. What's the team? And then I hear people saying they're going to be a Herschel Walker type trade. Oh, really? Okay, good. Good. Going to get 11 picks? Good. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, go do that. Go do that, because that's going on a lot these days in the NFL. You do see a lot of trades that are made that involve 8, picks and tons of first round picks. And then go get Emmitt Smith. All right. Then take one of those draft picks, go get an Emmitt Smith, and everything will be right. I think because of this documentary going on, Z, everything's being looked at through the lens of that. Mm-hmm. Maybe they could go back and do what they did in the 90s. And that's the biggest problem with the Cowboys. They're so far removed from that. It's a joke it even gets brought up. They're 30 years removed from that greatness. And yet everything still is in the context of, remember how great they were? Well, maybe they could trade Micah. And Z, I got to tell you, even my buddies who I would think, hey, the guys I hang with and go to a Rangers game, like the other night, to a Rangers-Angels games, as we're walking in, one of my guys who knows Cowboys, great businessman, all of that, he's like, trade him. I'm ready. I'm ready just to trade him. I'm ready to get rid of him. I did not think it would go that way. I kind of thought everybody would be so mad at Jerry, they would still be trying to put pressure on Jerry. But not now, again, not that Jerry's getting any love, but I think now fans are starting to get where they're just put out with both sides, Micah and Jerry. And Z, I don't know. I mean, I do think we got to have some closure soon. We got to have some direction. And if the direction is that you're going to let him play in the final year of his deal for $21 million or whatever it is, he may just rely on this back injury and keep not showing up.
And just use that kind of then, for lack of a better term, as the excuse to make it work.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up everything being looked through the lens of that too, because then I also wonder how many Cowboys fans think about when Emmitt held out then. And the start of the season without him was just kind of, a little abysmal there on the offensive side until is that what he's hoping for then too, of once we play, they'll kind of see how I'm needed on the defense. And then that'll, there's things and ways to look at it. I'm kind of the boat where I'm with you, where I don't think either of them have looked the best in all of this, but it's to a point where the impasse time, we've reached that impasse of where something has to happen. We're a week away from starting the season, and each day that goes by where there's not something is more speaking likely to me that he's not going to play the first game of the season. The going and getting a second opinion on the back is, I'm kind of agree with you, of maybe he might be it's a little tight. Maybe I was advised maybe to sit out while we do this. Maybe that's what it's used for. Or what I can tell you is I don't think he's flying to Green Bay to work out some, master draft plan that they're going to put together, or, draft pick package they're going to put together to win him over. I think that it does. I think that maybe they're trying to play the market and use this 1 week to see if teams will bite. But I don't think necessarily the Cowboys are ready for that. I think that Jerry's still going to hold his position this whole time. So I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Although in the past, He changed his position on Zach Martin. They caved on CD, and they caved on Zeke. Now with Dak, they eventually did that massive deal, and they waited till the day of the game. If you think about that, the first game, to get that deal done. So it may be some dramatic, huge deal at the end. But I think Jerry, he loves the whole family concept. And I have a hard time thinking with a player this great that he's let it get so ugly that Mike is sort of out of the family. Because if they let him play on this current contract, he's basically setting up a deal where he just angers him more and more. And then it just sets up this very, very awkward situation. Now, let me tell you what the teammates think. Dak thinks the deal's going to get done. CD thinks the deal's going to get done, because theirs eventually did. Now, Dak was more patient and kept practicing even though he didn't love not having his stuff taken care of. But Dak is not as emotional, and Dak is more of just a pure businessman than Micah. Don't hear me wrong. I'm not saying he's smarter or anything like that. I'm just saying he handles his business in a different manner. All right, Z, we're going to handle our business, and we're going to do something we call Campus Confidential. Some of the biggest stories going on in all of college football, college basketball. I did see the Baylor women have put the schedule out. Here they come. Very, very interesting game that's going to take place in Fort Worth. So we got a lot to cover in Campus Confidential. That is next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mosley Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss.
It is the Matt Mosley Show and E-Radio Network. You see, Z. You see it's time for Campus Confidential. Z, we're still, we may end up with a tremendous lead-in, some music for this. There's got to be some kind of college football sound, a drum line or something, but we're still in production on that, all right? Yeah,
I like it'll be big. We'll get there.
We'll get there, and that'll be good. And of course, we'll also get I've got this camera that if I take a little break and pull back away from the camera, it it moves everywhere, and I'm someone that likes to move around a lot, so that's a bit of an issue. I think people are shocked to see that I have regular glasses. Anybody that's ever been around me knows that I wear prescription shades most of the time, and this is my preferred state.
I will be honest, I did not know they were prescription though.
Oh yeah. They're a prescription, and I need them, and I play a lot of tennis in them, but this is how I prefer, especially with I don't even know if I need that ring light, but I have a ring light behind my setting here, and it's kind of getting in my eyes, so I need these. Okay, now I don't know if you saw this Dion thing, but I want to start where Z wants to start, and this is a time Scotty usually does it, but you guys throw out the headline and then we react to it, and this is a quick hitting. I mean, I don't. Nothing is quick hitting when I'm involved, but the theory is that we kind of boom, 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 boom. And as we get into the 2:00 hour, we do have a guest lined up. And Sam Bradshaw, Big Sam, will be joining us from SicEm365. And he looks at schemes and breakdowns and things that just are not my forte. And I've always enjoyed talking to him. And I think our folks are going to enjoy this. Like, what is Hugh Freeze going to do? What may Dave Aranda do to slow down, this high-powered Auburn offense? Is it a high-powered offense? I think that'll be kind of cool. And so he'll be stopping by. Z, where do you want to start today as we do some Campus Confidential?
So I'm going to start where exactly you were going to, since you brought it up, because that's the first tab that I have open. And that is Deion Sanders making a statement essentially at their debut. I didn't realize they had a debut for commercials, but they was at an event for the AP along with Nick Saban to debut an Affleck commercial. But that is where he said just essentially his idea was to pay the players for making the tournament and pay them more than when their team wins, calling it that was equality and that it's even for every player in making the same amount of money. Currently, I'll just add, because it says it here, currently conferences whose schools advance to the 12-team playoff receive $4 million to making the bracket, with payments increasing for every round they win.
Yeah. Okay. The conference, the schools, I don't know how much of a trickle down all of that is. I don't think it's a horrible idea. I think people were kind of mad that Saban is still stuck in this, like, hey, when we went to school, we did that to try to get, our futures together. It's like, okay, that's not happening anymore. Yeah. A lot of these folks are here to play. They're here to play. They're hoping to play in the NFL. And even the ones that aren't going to play in the NFL that are getting to play would like to make some money while they're doing it because because of the TV deals, there's enormous revenue. And why do we think we have a rev share deal now? It's because of these lawsuits. The NCAA finally started losing a bunch of lawsuits, and here we are. So this constant thought from Saban, let's take it back the way it used to be, where a college scholarship created opportunity for the future. Okay, Nick, we appreciate it. Now, what Deion's saying makes some sense. Mm-hmm. It's like your team gets to the playoff, and you're going to get these huge payouts to the schools or the conferences for these schools getting there. Why not give some of that to the players? Now, the problem is, I think Deion likes the thought of this. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Mm-hmm. But what Deion's not maybe saying is, I think they would like to do this and take some of the other money away from them. Because what Deion's saying, and he's not totally wrong, is some of these NIL deals are such a joke that there might be 2 or 3 guys on a team that actually are worth whatever somebody's paying them, but some of the other people, and this new commission was supposed to police this, and maybe they are. But, do we think because of this new rev share thing, Ohio State's going to spend like way less on its roster this season? Is the University of Texas coming in there to the Horseshoe with like, well, we got this roster and we just don't have that much money anymore? No. They all find a way. You think the Aggies are going empty-handed right now? They all find a way to pay the money. But I'm not totally opposed to what Deion's coming up with in terms of, they already do this a little bit in college basketball. They have these showcase games, and then some of the gate for those games goes to the players, or maybe some of the TV money. Some of it goes back to the players. Why in the world wouldn't you reward? And what he's comparing it to is like the NFL playoffs. Teams get playoff shares, and like the Super Bowl champions, for instance, every single player on that roster, I think, gets upwards of like $170,000 a piece for either making it to the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl, which is nice. It's a great little bonus at the end of the season. Yeah,
it's not bad. No. I'm kind of with you there too, and I don't think it's necessarily that bad of an idea, because the players are the ones, obviously, you can make the argument they get the team there in the first place, and if they win, they should be, and they should be not celebrated, but like rewarded such. But I do like, if you're going to have it, a fixed like structure across the board, like you said, with some of these NIL deals of how crazy it can be for some of the players compared to others on the team. I don't know if they are wrangling it or not. I've seen less crazy stuff here lately, but that just could be because I'm not as online as much as I used to be too.
There's one, I'll let you get to the next story, but there's one story that's just out there from David Ubben. We may have him on soon. He and I used to do TV together, but he did a thing on like what all the players are spending their NIL money on. And that at least gives you a picture of how much they're making, and then whether they're making smart purchases, weird purchases. And I like the Texas Tech quarterback, Baron Morton, who's from out in West Texas, bought himself 150 acres, and he's leasing it out to hunters, people who want to hunt on the land. It might end up being okay. And of course he wants to hunt, but it is funny. I mean, like that players now have enough money to go buy 150 acres and then lease it out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is very interesting. I'm gonna have to hunt that article down then. Moving to just a quick little tidbit that I found interesting from Danny Davis with the Statesman in Austin. Essentially, with the SEC moving to the 9 league games, there's talk because Texas has, you brought up last segment, they're playing Ohio State in the Horseshoe here soon. They got a series against Michigan and also a home and away against Notre Dame coming up. And just talk of if the change of the 9th SEC game would change what they're doing there. Texas AD Chris Del Conte essentially said, no, we're still going to keep scheduling these big marquee matchups like we want to. And I don't know if that's necessarily news. I would think, though, that I've heard talks of like, well, Alabama might have to change like their West Virginia game and things like that because of this 9th SEC, game that they're adding. So interesting to see that at least for where it is right now, Texas is still planning on scheduling the big marquee matchups, even with the 9th game.
Well, in the 9th game, it's not like it replaces the marquee game. It replaces them playing Presbyterian or Tarleton or whoever. Apologies to our alums from those groups, but that's what it does.
Yeah.
And it was always weird for Alabama to be, you got the LSU game coming up, or you got these monster games, you got the A&M, whoever the game is. And then one of those weeks in like November or something, or late October, they play somebody crazy. I don't know why you had to go after the Mocs like that. I think that's
I was just thinking of
Terrell Owens.
It's nothing against them. I mean, I thought about Tennessee State, but then I didn't want to upset the Tigers. Yeah. That was the first one came to mind.
Ooh, you know a lot of mascots. I like that.
I do.
Are you good with high school mascots or just college mascots?
So it was mainly college. I used to be a lot better at high school when I was more in depth in my high school football knowledge. But I'm pretty decent for the most part. When I was actually in high school on long bus drives that we do playing basketball, I had a buddy on the team and we would go back and forth and we would just name the university and we'd have to name the mascot and we'd go like D3 and all that. So yeah.
What's Cameron Yo? What are they?
The Yeoman.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Which it's like a sailor of some sort, isn't it? What is a yeoman? Do you know?
Well, it's like, yeah, there is something, there's an actual, we hear the phrase under like yeoman's work.
Yeah.
And so that has a meaning to us of, really hardworking individual or something. But the definition of an actual yeoman, I couldn't totally tell you. And what do they say about the women, the female players out there? Are they the yo women?
Oh, that I don't. Although, can I get on a soapbox very briefly about this?
Yeah,
some odd thing that's oddly no. Just when it comes to mascots,
he's about to get on people for being too woke. All right, what's up?
It's not like that. It's just I've always thought that, and I'm gonna use Baylor just because we're here, but Bears encompasses everybody. I never thought that there needed to be like when I go to the zoo, I don't point out that there's a man bear and a lady bear. They're just bears. Yeah, so that's just the only thing. That's nothing.
Well, no, but they've come around to your way of thinking.
That's true.
That's what Baylor does now.
Yes,
but it was only like it was just kind of fun over the years because like they were so great for so many years, and then they were called the Lady Bears. It wasn't really about are they bears or they it wasn't even about gender. It was about the fun saying that and the Lady Longhorns or the Lady, like the Louisiana Tech, the Lady Texters or something. Like there was just, I don't think we thought of it as like a gender thing. It was more of like,
I get that.
That's a massive winning program.
Lady Lumberjacks is a mouthful. So that's all.
I need that drop. We just whenever we can.
Oh man! Yeah. But so that's just the thing there. But another thing that as we move on to our next, these are a little bit more quick hitting. But the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl game is being moved to the Ford Center at the Star this season instead because the Toyota Stadium, which has been the home of it, is undergoing renovations and won't be available.
All right. I'll just continue not going to that game.
I didn't realize it was the Scooters. Like, are we to the point now with bowl games that I don't know? That just seems kind of maybe Scooters is bigger than it obviously is here. But
what do you have in Central Texas? You have the Dutch, you have the Starbucks, you have your mom and pops.
And that's about it.
Yeah, which are, by the way, there's a bunch of good ones. The one right over on the Baylor campus. There's now 2 of those.
The Common Grounds. Yeah.
And the original owner of that, Jill Mashburn, I went to school with her. She was a year ahead of me, but she was great. And that really, by the way, gave us a better, like we always thought, we loved our campus at Baylor. But looking back, when I first started in 91, we didn't have anything. We didn't have the chili. I mean, maybe toward the end that Chili's came on campus or something. And we did have a Chick-fil-A and like a Blimpies in the Student Union building. But the Common Grounds gave us a little character right there on campus. And then, of course, Big Daddy's. And that family still is in the catering business. Blahnik, Joe Blahnik.
Did our wedding.
Really? Yeah. Well, that guy, and I saw him years later because I thought, well, he was kind of old when I was in school. He just had an older look about him. I don't think he was actually old, but he became a friend and he would like sponsor my intramural teams and stuff. He was I like that guy. I like that family. That's a nice family.
Great.
I bet they did a nice job on your wedding.
It was fantastic.
I wish you could retroactively invite me to your wedding.
It was a small little intimate but fun thing.
Yeah, that's what you say when you explain to people why they weren't invited. It was a very intimate affair.
But it was.
But you didn't know me back then. You're fine. Z-Man, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just a couple. I'm just going to rapid fire these just to get through them. Harvard and Yale will play in Fenway Park again in 2026. They're redoing that. Also this weekend, Army will now be the last of the service academies as they will be selling alcohol for the first time in their football game against Tarleton State. Air Force began in 2017, Navy in 2021. Army is the last one. A non-football note that I just wanted to add just because you brought it up, so I'll make sure we mention it. The Baylor women's basketball team, it was announced, will take part in and I'm trying to find the actual name of it. It's the Sprouts Farmers Market ESPNW Women's Basketball Invitational. That's going to be on ABC on December 14th, where they will take on Texas in Fort Worth.
Wait, but they call it invitational? Are there other games there, or is that just one featured game at the invitational?
I think it's just, I'm going to their website right now to see if it has the other in the press.
Talk about a mouthful.
It's just the one game.
Okay. I think it's great. I mean, I was probably more of if they want to go to the SEC, to heck with them. It's not like I was dying. I don't miss University of Texas. I miss beating them. I don't miss them that much or anything. I still watch their games. I can't wait to watch the Ohio State game. It's not anything. I got great friends who are there. And now I got a daughter who's an Aggie. So, but I don't understand why Baylor, it's been long enough. Like, why would the Baylor men not play A&M or Tech? I mean, Texas is understandable. They just left. There was some ill will between the conference and the teams, not giving any notice. Like, that's fine if you want to wait a while to play them. But, like, why in the world do the men not play the Aggies? And the women ought to play A&M because they're horrible. That'd be an easy win. I mean, A&M women's basketball is horrific. But, like, I don't know. I mean, like, the Baylor and Zach, you're old enough to remember, that was great rivalry. Mm-hmm. Quincy AC, all those great Baylor players, and that was that a 5 overtime game or whatever it was. That was one of the great.
I stayed up listening to Jam on that radio call. Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 at that A&M. It was great.
It was
Curtis
awesome.
Gerald, Henry Duke. I loved that team. Yeah.
I don't even think it was on TV.
No.
Like, when they show that game, they have to, like, find footage one of the team shot to even watch that game. Yeah, they made A&M may have had that big man Joe big, and I don't know if Donald Sloan was on that team or he came later, and that was probably AC Law might have been before then, but anyway, that was awesome. All right, Z, that was great, man. Enjoyed that. Are we at the end of the show? 3. We do have a really fun interview to share with you. And I say fun, I mean a guy that knows his X's and O's is going to take you inside the game and is going to look at this Auburn-Baylor game from every which angle. Sam Bradshaw, known as S11, over there on SicEm365, joins the Mosley Show next.
Shades is your trusted partner in stage lighting, offering a wide range of high-quality, innovative products since 2015. With designs that cater to all needs, fast delivery, and affordable prices, we provide exceptional customer service to ensure your satisfaction. With warehouses across the globe and sales in over 100 countries, Sheds is quickly becoming one of the most recognized names in the stage lighting industry. Visit shehds.com today to discover top-tier stage lighting solutions and become part of our global network.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Chapellex is a full-category shapewear brand dedicated to providing women with exceptional comfort and support. We offer thoughtfully designed solutions that blend style with functionality, empowering women to feel confident and at ease every day. Chapellex is redefining what it means to have a perfect body. Our mission celebrates body positivity, embracing every shape and size, because true beauty lies in authenticity. Visit shapellx.com today and join a movement towards self-love, acceptance, and confidence.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus Flower Rolls. The green Lotus Roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus Roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
This is the Matt Mosley Show and Rogue Media Network, and really pleased to be joined and via phone. He's out moving around. He's got work stuff going on, but man, he's always on the move. Sam Bradshaw, longtime buddy of mine, and some know him as S11 on SicEm365, and he used to do radio with me, and he's just over the years, I've loved what Sam does because he breaks it all down. He takes you behind the numbers. He looks at the schemes. And so it's really been fun to reconnect with Sam. Generally, Sam, we run into each other like when you're taking your kids over in the Metroplex to Hat Creek. That's about the best chance we have of running into each other. But great to have you back on, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to talking.
So Sam does an incredible job. SicEm365. In fact, I was just reading part 3. You know, there's the 8-part Cowboys documentary we've been talking about, and then there's like the 3-part Sam Bradshaw documentary leading into this Auburn-Baylor game. And this 3rd part that I was reading earlier is about Hugh Freeze in Auburn and you know, what they want to do. And Sam even goes back and looks at some things he was doing at Ole Miss. Sam, before we dial into exactly how you think Hugh Freeze will attack Baylor, just the matchup overall, like it's fun. It's going to be, it's SEC versus the Big 12. Both teams really, really need this game. But when you look at Auburn, and you look at even the line on this game, Sam, and I know that's not something you obsess too much with as the gambling side. A lot of people do. They have been favored by somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2.5 or 3. I honestly don't know that a lot of people know what to make of this game because I think the old school SEC person says, well, they're SEC. They're going to come in and beat the Big 12 team. But Auburn has not been good under Hugh Freeze. As you kind of have pieced all this together, and as we're getting closer to kickoff, which again is tomorrow night at 7:00, Sam will probably be on the scene as always, although he may have kids in tow. Sam, what's your gut feeling? And as you continue to prepare for this thing, are you sensing close game? What's your feeling overall on this game as we get closer to kickoff?
My feeling's more leaning towards a close game. It's just so hard at the beginning of the year with so much turnover. You know, Baylor obviously lost their nickel for this game, and they lost a guy they brought in to be a clear starter at one safety position for the season back in spring. So you have some concerns in the secondary on Baylor's side, but the offense returns a ton of weapons and 4 out of 5 starters on the line, and clearly the better quarterback in this matchup in Sawyer, who's not only a dual threat, but he's got the arm talent and the accuracy and decisions to go with it. But you've got 2 teams with really good D-lines, but Auburn, they brought in a great portal class, but they lost a ton. You know, they lost their top 2 nose tackles. They lost a top D tackle. They lost, you know, both their starting linebackers. They lost depth pieces as well on the defensive side. They lost their leading receiver and leading rusher, and both their key tight ends. There's just a lot of moving pieces, and they completely turned over their quarterback room. Literally everybody's gone, and they brought in 3 guys. They're all dual threat. They're all guys that have big arm. You know, they brought in, obviously, the one getting all the hype is Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma, who had a less than stellar year at Oklahoma, but he was a consensus 5-star coming out of high school. So he's got the arm talent, he's got the mobility, but, you know, is he at a point with consistency where he's going to be able to deliver against a defense that's going to bring a lot of different pressures on him? And then you got Daniels coming over from Stanford, who was really good in some respects, but he was underwater in terms of touchdown interception ratio. And then you got a freshman in Deuce Knight, who, you know, he's very, very talented, but he's also a true freshman. There's potentially a big adjustment period there. So you can like a lot of the pieces they have, including some of the receivers they brought in, the offensive tackles they brought in, and still wonder, all right, are we going to have the trigger man to really leverage all these weapons that we put out there?
Sam Bradshaw joining us from SicEm365 and taking us kind of behind the obvious things. And only Sam would know the entire quarterback room of Auburn, other than the people that are on the message board at Auburn, I'm sure, the premium message boards. Sam is a man that doesn't surf around message boards too much, but the back and forth has been kind of fun between Baylor and Auburn. The other day, Sam had Jarrett Stidham on, who played for both programs, and so that was kind of fun to catch up with him. Let me ask you this. Spavital, I remember kind of reading and hearing your thoughts on Spavital. All these guys that do a lot of RPO, some air raid concepts, in some sense, they all, in a weird way, come from the same general family. But when you look at what Spavital is trying to accomplish with an established great starting running back, Auburn, we don't know as much about their running backs. How different are these two play callers, Spavital and Hugh Freeze, in what they're trying to accomplish? And then how much do they actually mirror each other?
Well, I think they're both going to be pretty similar. They're both more spread to run. I mean, Spavital's drop back game is largely modeled after the air raid, but much like his former boss, Dana Holgerson, he really leans on that run game. He incorporates a lot of RPO. That branch of the air raid coaching tree has adopted a lot of kind of the deep choice routes that Briles made famous during his time at Baylor. You know, you've got a lot of spread to run ethos mixed in with the air raid. And Freeze is very much a let's go where we have numbers. You know, he tells the story of when he was on Coach O's staff at Ole Miss as an assistant, and they're running power everywhere you can do it with great coaches, great personnel, and they're asking a receiver to dig out a safety who's too far inside and bigger than him. And he's like, why are we doing this? We shouldn't be handing the ball off if we can run right by that guy. And during his time at Ole Miss, kind of illustrating the concept, they had a bowl game against Pitt where they ran one play that had 4 options for where the quarterback could go with the ball. He could keep it, he could hand it off, he could throw a hitch route to the left, he could throw a bubble screen to the right, and they ran the exact same formation, exact same play over and over and over again for a score, relying on nothing more than what are they leaving open numerically. So both these guys are going to try and play the numbers, play with more of a downhill run game, and build some RPOs and shot plays off of it. The biggest difference between them is I feel like a lot more air raid influences in the pure drop back passing game for Spavital, whereas Freeze is kind of his own animal in that regard. But they're both very, very similar styles.
And boy, Sam I had my usual Mosley fashion today. This morning, I was just like, golly, I would love to talk to Sam about this game. And then I thought, wait, I think I can, now because of some different moves I've made recently career wise. So good to be visiting with you again. I appreciate you jumping on short notice. I think people would be interested to hear your thought. I think of some of the great matchups to look for in this game. Trigg, Baylor tight end, seems to be a matchup nightmare for most teams. Now, Trigg has some, he's not the most mature kid in the world, but when you get him on the field, he can be a matchup nightmare. So I wanted to hear from you and all these receivers. We're going to go Wilson, Prentice, obviously Cameron. I mean, Taz. Baylor goes way deep at wide receiver. Of course, I didn't mention some of the guys, but it's just Ashton is back. I mean, Baylor seems to be that maybe their deepest position is at wide receiver. So, can you walk us through, Sam, when you look at the Auburn secondary versus the Baylor tight end and this wide receiver group, where is Baylor, have some obvious advantages? And then what have you determined that Auburn has back there that they'll use to try to slow this Baylor offense down?
Well, Auburn has a few different looks that they get into alignment-wise that can kind of change what kind of matchups you're able to dictate with your run game, change kind of the weak points of where they're filling the run versus where guys can kind of sit back in coverage. So they'll have a couple ways to mix it up. But really with Auburn, they basically return an entire secondary of at least part-time starters. Now, they lost Jaron Thompson, who transferred over from Texas, did a really good job for him last year. And they lost a couple depth pieces in the secondary, but the secondary is largely back. And then they added a safety from Georgia Tech who will be in the mix, and they added a starting corner from Tulane who was pretty well touted last year. And they also added another corner from Miami, Ohio, who was the MAC cornerback of the year. And depending on which publication you're talking about, may have been an All-American. So they'll have some guys in the secondary and at corner, but at linebacker, they lost their rush linebacker, they lost their Sam linebacker, they lost their Mike linebacker, they lost their Will linebacker. And while the guys they have coming in are going to definitely be athletic and provide some athletic matchups, I think a guy like a Michael Trigg, especially if Baylor's able to get the run going, a guy like Michael Trigg versus some inexperience in the middle of that defense, that could be a dangerous proposition for Auburn, because Trigg basically runs like a receiver, has great body control, obviously can get open. And I think he's going to provide a size matchup for a lot of those DBs. And while a lot of those linebackers can run, it's a different animal when all of a sudden you're having to fill against the run, and then this matchup nightmare of a tight end is roaming around your area.
Okay, and the last thing I had, and I need to get you going here, but the Baylor has, again, I laugh when I see, oh my God, they're huge on O-line. Well, most teams are, right? This is particularly big offensive line. They have two monster nose tackles that they've brought in. Jackie Marshall is one of their better players. I mean, Kalu really is. That was interesting because he's a homegrown guy who's hung in there, and he was listed as the starter. When it comes to, you remember how under Rule they had that, I guess it was a 3-4, and they generated, and McGuire was helping with that too, but they generated so many freaking sacks and takeaways that year. And I think we've always kind of been like, man, that'd be fun to get back to that. Against this Auburn offensive line, which you said is relatively inexperienced, or they've really had to change out a lot of guys. How do you see that matchup going? And for Baylor to be great on the D line, who has to be their best player up there?
Well, first and foremost, Auburn returns 4 out of 5 starting linemen, and then they brought in 2 transfer tackles from USC and Virginia Tech who were starting there. So their line's going to be good. The big question for Baylor is, what do you have to do in order to stop that run? Do you have to bring safeties down, or can you do a lot of what you did in 21 and 22, where you were able to kind of keep your safeties back because you had Apu Ika, because you had Cole Maxwell, because you had all these other guys that were able to really hold up for you and play an extra gap in the run potentially and give yourself an extra body. It's going to be interesting to see what Baylor has to do, or if Baylor just decides to take some calculated risks and, apply some zone pressures or some man pressures at times to get Auburn off schedule so that you can get Jackson Arnold all of a sudden having to drop back. And, I think in terms of defensive linemen that have to win, I don't know if I necessarily have an individual that has to win, but you have to do better in pass rush. Last year the pass rush was lacking, but I also feel like everything we've heard coming out of camp, whether it be the linebackers, whether it be the line, you've got a defensive front that's expected to get after the quarterback and expected to do it well.
All right. And if you had to pick right now, Carl's not playing in this game, it didn't look like. They've been banged up a little bit in the secondary, as you noted. Who's Baylor's best cover guy? Devin Bobby's had a great offseason. They've talked a lot about him. I think we're all looking for Caden Jenkins to have a bounce back because he was supposed to be on his way to greatness, and I think he took a step backwards last year for whatever reason. That happened. They've got a new secondary coach with Paul Gonzalez. I'm thinking that's going to help. But if you had to break it down in terms of Baylor's best cover guy, who is that right now?
Well, I think Tevin Williams is probably your best guy at corner. And then at safety, your most proven player is Devin Bobby. Whether or not he's the best in coverage or whether he's just the best overall player, depends on who else you have. But, I'm expecting Baylor to backfill largely with DJ Coleman at star, and I'm expecting them to have the Oregon transfer, the other Turner, Tyler Turner, come in. And he'll be an athletic option there. But a lot of it's going to come down to how can you keep them from exposing any of these guys to solo coverage, because Cam Coleman's one of the better receivers in the SEC. Definitely in that short list for all conference. And then you add a Wake Forest transfer who's got some size on the outside. You return Simmons in the slot, who's really fast. But you also added Singleton, who's one of the top receivers in the portal, who's something insane like a 10-3 100-meter kind of guy. Something just blazing fast. And he might be dinged up, based off some of the reports people are putting out there. But you've got some weapons there. And the more you can kind of protect those guys without getting too conservative against the run, the better. So it's going to be a real interesting chess match. One of the things Aranda mentioned is before the 23 season, he was talking with then Baylor analyst Gary Patterson. And Patterson was almost saying along the lines of, well, with a lot of the spread offenses you see in the Big 12 and by extension Auburn, you've really got to approach it kind of from the front to the back end of your defense. Whereas his opinion was that Aranda was kind of viewing it from the coverage down. So it will be interesting to see if that kind of leads to some different tactics, because, like if you look back to 2022, Baylor was basically playing a man down in the box all the time and playing relatively safe in coverage. And if you look at any number of years, Patterson was the exact opposite of that. He wanted to make you take low percentage throws, and if you could hit him, more power to you, but he was going to make it tough on you. So since Aranda mentioned that will be a very interesting thing for me to watch, because if this was 2022, I'd say the game clearly comes down to, can you play a man down in the box? But here, I really think you could see any number of schemes. Aranda could be in a very, very different headspace in terms of how he calls the game. And that could make things a lot less predictable and a lot more unstable for a new quarterback situation for Auburn.
All right. I love it. Sam, always love reading your stuff. SicEm365. And when I'm scrolling through there, a lot of people know him as S11. We know him as Sam Bradshaw. And he's got 3 parts leading in, and the latest one is now up. And it's how Hugh Freeze has attacked defenses in the past and how he might attack the Bears. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in there that Sam pours a lot into this, and love having him on. Sam, have a great Friday, Baylor and Auburn. I know you'll be dialed in, and look forward to seeing you perhaps at a restaurant in the Dallas area, okay?
Good to talk to you, Matt. You have a great day.
There you go. Sam Bradshaw, joining the Matt Mosley Show here on Rogue Media Network. The latest on Micah Parsons, that is next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
It is the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network. And Z-Man with me. It's been great to have Zach Burke alongside. And Zach is, he does Cam's show. He does a lot. And he's done my podcast in the past. And he works with the Doomsday podcast. We love having him. Ed Werder and I do that. And, of course, that's on its way. And I keep looking, Zach. It was great to have Sam Bradshaw. Thank you, Sam, for coming on. I keep looking to see anything's going on with Micah. And I know we're taking a peek. I did want to say real quick, Zach, Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James. Wow. Craig Cherry and I went to law school together. Mm-hmm. He obviously, I think, studied harder, did a little better there. And now, he just got some like huge national recognition for like, so there's Texas lawyer, there's national lawyer, there's all these things you can get. And this one he got was like the grand poobah, he's just kind of gotten to one of those really top levels. And then Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James. So that's CJSJlaw.com. Again, that's CJSJlaw.com. And the James is Scott James, who Barry and Linda James, his parents went to school with my parents at Baylor. And the James family is just, they're from East Texas, where my dad's from. And we've known them forever, and they're incredible. And so, very cool. And in fact, I believe his daughter, he and Leanne, the former Leanne Guest, Scott's daughter was recognized as the top soccer player in all of Central Texas last year. I believe she plays out at Midway. And so her last name would be James. And she is big time. I kind of think I know her name, but I don't want to throw it out in case I'm wrong. But big time soccer player, Syntex Soccer Player of the Year. Okay, that's big. That's big. Look at here. Look at my camera. I'm trying to get it to follow me now. Look at that.
It was doing it earlier, and now, yeah.
Is it kind of weird now, or is it okay? All right.
No. You look fine. I see you fine.
I'm way up higher than you. Yeah. I went to get a quick coffee down in the break room, which also doubles as my kitchen.
Oh.
and kind of a green room type deal. And the K cup did something very strange. As I was getting my coffee, all the grounds and like kind of lava almost was coming out of there. I think that must happen if you have a tear in the top of the K cup. But man, this is strange. So Zach, if you'll talk for just a moment, I'm going to taste this. I feel like this is going to have like all the grounds and not the coffee it should have. Let's try this.
Ooh, okay, there's going to be nothing worse if it's just all grounds. I had a tea bag the other day open up on me, and it was nothing but tea when I took a drink. And it was the worst.
Everything you say today makes me laugh. You've said about 2 or 3 things that you don't mean anything by, but my mind is very I'm having maturity issues today. You said something about
the lady lumberjacks. I know,
and then you just
about
golly. I asked you to talk while I was having a drink, and then I almost did a spit take.
Well,
I almost did. I
was trying to find something to kind of like compare it to, and I was
guess,
No, you have to understand that happens to me a lot. I'm not only am I clumsy, I'm not the best with words. The English language.
So you went into radio. I like that.
Well, no, I went to school for the written word at first for journalism, and then
that's what I did. Yeah, I did the written word first. I was at the Dallas Morning News.
I only ever worked in radio. I did a little writing for like some online websites and stuff, and I did some game stories and stuff for the Trib. But no, I ended up never using all the MLA and the Strunk and all the different formats. I'd never used any of them, but still.
Well, I mean, be careful saying you did anything for the Trib. Bryce Cherry will be calling you during this. He'll hire you away from me during this segment. My gosh, they got my man Michael over there, who was a great young Baylor. He was at Baylor doing stuff for the Lariat. He's a neat guy, and they've kind of claimed him. And obviously, Jerry Hill came from there, the late, great John Werner. But, man, I have loved that Trib over the years. And the legendary Dave Campbell. Wow. That right there is as good as it gets. Okay, we do have.
How was the coffee?
It's doable, but I like you really can't mess up a Keurig. Like I'm the only one who could literally go screw up a Keurig pour. And first of all, it's weird that I have coffee this late in the day anyway. What I did have. And I'm getting used to this mic, by the way, if people are wondering why I'm shouting. I'm so used to eating my mic in radio that like the thought of just sitting back and acting normal, I can't do. Okay. I can't really do that in any respect. But I did find in the fridge, and I've forgotten it, the greatest thing, Zach, is when you go and you get something, either leftovers or some turkey, some deli turkey or ham or whatever, and you forget it's there and you discover it. It's like you make a discovery because I thought, well, I got nothing in the fridge. And I, last night, had purchased some thinly sliced pastrami from a barbecue place in town. And I just went and handled up. I went down during a break. And I mean, I just devoured a few slices of pastrami. Okay, Zach, do you know where Scotty keeps the breaking news sounder?
Let me look real quick.
All right. We've got breaking. We may just have to have you make a sound or whatever.
Okay.
I don't think he left word.
That's all I had was a stinger. I'm sorry. There you
go. Several teams. This is according to ESPN. Earlier today, we played you that Dan Graziano where it was like, well, is this breaking news or not? Would you guys like to figure this out before you put this out there? Now they've collected, they've compared notes. Todd Archer, longtime buddy of mine, he and I covered the Cowboys together at the Morning News. Adam Schefter and Dan Graziano, they've gotten together. And now they have delivered this report. Several teams have spoken to the Cowboys about a potential Micah Parsons trade. And for the first time, the Cowboys appear willing to at least listen, according to multiple sources. Whoa. This is a change from Jerry saying, no way, no how. No trade is imminent, but another team always could be aggressive enough to make it come together quickly per sources. Yikes. This fan base, is shell-shocked after what happened with Luka. Now, Z-Man, go over and look at Ian Rappaport on his Twitter and look at Jane Slater and Tom Pelissero. Do that real quick while I'm talking about this report, and let's see if we have anything different. I would imagine they have either followed this report or this report was following them, but we need to kind of see what they have That's NFL Network, which again apparently is all going to be one soon. So that's weird. Rich Eisen, they're like, oh wait, people like Rich Eisen on SportsCenter. Oh really? Yeah, like 30 years ago he was on SportsCenter all the time. So congrats, guys, you figured out something that we all knew. The Cowboys. Okay.
Anything from Rappaport? Last I had was a Brown one. I'm looking still though.
That's fine. Cowboys would like to resolve the situation one way or the other in the coming days with their season opener Thursday. Next Thursday, by the way. Cowboys hold their first full practice in prep for the Eagles tomorrow. That's happening tomorrow, the day the Auburn Tigers come strutting in to McLean Stadium. They're coming into our territory. I cannot believe. I wonder if the Auburn people will show up. These Texas families are sending a ton of kids to Auburn. I wonder if the Auburn folks are going to come in and try to take over our stadium. Surely not. I don't know why every Southern accent has to sound like Foghorn Leghorn or whatever. But the Auburn people will be around, and they'll be in our Fairburg starting tomorrow. Wow. I mean, this is big. This is big that they're at least listening. The Cowboys will want clarity soon, and based on conversations with multiple sources, it appears there are still several different ways this lingering situation that has hung over the Cowboys could turn out. All right, let's go through the scenarios as the Z-Man. Look at him. You can see him live, folks, working that phone. He's like Schefter. He's like, reach for your BlackBerry. Like Mark Stein still has a BlackBerry. Reach for the BlackBerry. Oh, yeah, he's reaching out. He's reaching out to his people. I like this because Z-Man has just stayed with me on the split screen the whole show. I think half the time Zach is just off doing stuff in the hall or something. I mean, the man does not like to reveal what he's doing. What do you have for me, Z? You look like you've got something. Anything new?
It's an underdog tweet, but it does say that Schefter, Cowboys willing to at least listen to offers. But it's the same kind of.
Yeah. You can tell what Zach does in his spare time. He went straight to underdog. Now, I understand they're going to start advertising with us, but Zach just like FanDuel. It's like, let me talk to my bookie. I'm not asking what the over-under is on the Philly game, Zach.
I think it's 2.5, but I just made that number up. I have no clue.
No, that's the line on the Baylor Auburn game.
Dropped. I think it's down to 1.5 now.
What, the Baylor Auburn?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Ooh, double check that while you're at it. I mean, while you're doing so many things, I've never had such a golly. Simcox was always just checking on what was happening. Boy, Simcox loved he loved the fact that our station was next to a Sonic. And he loves chili cheese fries, like from anywhere. Like the late great walk-ons, man, they would have some chili cheese fries. Simcox was at that age, and I think he's just about aged out of it, but he was at that age in his late 20s where he did not have any problem handling up on some cheese fries. Most of us move on with our lives from chili cheese fries.
Yeah.
Sounds like Z, you may have had some of that in your background.
I have. Well, again, like you said, working next to a Sonic. It just makes sense sometimes. Or on the other side of that, there was a gas station. So I would, on plenty of Friday night when everything was closed,
over there.
I was still up there working on high school football stuff at 1 and 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Would walk over and make some very questionable decisions at the gas station of what to eat. So, it's thankfully, I hope that he's grown out of that because your body usually thanks you more. I'm not finding anything else.
Okay. Here are the scenarios as Z continues to monitor everything. And again, nothing imminent, but this is the first true reporting. Because whatever Graziano said earlier today was just weird. He didn't mean it's not his fault. He just was saying what could happen. And then the people on the show with him tried to act like he broke some news. But now we actually have legit, and he's legit. Everything I say sounds weird right now. He's legit. But he now has company. Archer and Schefter have joined him. And the news value is that for the first time, the Cowboys appear to willing to at least listen to these things. Now, over the years, surely you do pick up the phone. You at least listen if somebody is going to make you some massive offer. And let me just explain this to folks out there. I still think it's 90% that he plays for the Cowboys this season and 10% that he doesn't. Now, he could miss this Eagles game because of the fake back injury and still end up getting traded. All right, there's a trade deadline. It's not for another, 4 or 5 weeks. So there's nothing. I mean, even that famous Dion trade, I swear it felt like it happened in September. It felt like the season was just starting, and he didn't join the team until October because he was playing baseball. Can you imagine? He was out there helping the Atlanta Braves play baseball. It's wild that Bo Jackson and Dion one time played a football game and a baseball game on the same day. That was pretty cool. But, man, we're running out of time here, Z. I mean, we got all kinds of hell breaking loose. We got to get out of here. We got to make room for other people. I don't understand that. I guess we have to make room on the server or something because I don't see anybody coming into my space. They're not entering and they're not coming into your space. No. So this Mosley, we got to have you 1 to 3 because we have other people 3 to 6. Where are they? I mean, they're not coming into our little respective areas. We have to make room for other. Where the bandwidth or something? Are we running out of bandwidth? All right, but that's fine. I like. By the way, those guys, good guy. I like those guys. I really do. People say Mosley's. I do like those guys. All right, here's what Parsons could do. Parsons, we got 7 steps here, but I'm going to give you 4 of them. He could decide to play on his current contract with 1 year left. The Cowboys having the ability to use their franchise tag on him after the season. They could then have Parsons and the Cowboys could resurrect talks and reach an agreement on a long-term deal. So that could happen. Parsons could continue to sit out, citing a back injury and the, quote, back tightness that has prevented him from practicing throughout training camp. Oh my gosh, back tightness. I'm feeling that coming on right now. I actually do have back tightness, okay, from all my tennis. And I had to dig deep to take out Kyle Hickey from Dallas. I mean, he made me work yesterday, and I had to kind of come back from a 4-3 deficit to win the set 6-4 on a shot with my back to the net, Z. I mean, for a man in his 50s, I pull off some of the craziest shots you could ever imagine. Rare athleticism for a man in his 50s, all right? I don't think people would look at me right now and go, that man is an athlete. But for a guy in my 50s, there is a fair amount of athleticism. All right, or Parsons could be traded, which sources believe seem to have become a stronger possibility in recent days. There are said to be multiple suitors, though it's unclear whether Dallas ultimately would be willing to deal Parsons.
Let me, if I may just be so bold to say, there's going to be suitors for one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Shocking. But still.
I mean, how many are there right now? We heard the Packers. I think the Lions make sense. The Bucks make sense. And to Z's point, who doesn't make sense? Who doesn't want to add a phenomenal Z? Can you imagine if you just surfed this show around today? Some of the great moments we've had. I mean, most of them were just you. That sounds like something Scotty would do, just cut me out and just put a bunch of clips of himself saying stuff. But I mean, if you wanted to, and I'm not saying you have the time to do this, we could have stuff in everybody's timeline. You know, my hope with what I'm doing with Scotty and you, Z, And I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow because we got the pregame show. I think we're going to do a best of Mosley. Should we do a best of somebody that just started the show last week? Sounds kind of weird.
I got enough interviews. We'll make it work.
I will. Here's what I'll do. Z, whoever's running my best of tomorrow, as I get in position to do the pregame show, I'll call into my best of. I'm happy to do that live. What do you think Scotty's doing right now? I mean, it's like the dangest thing. This TV partnership we have, which I like. I mean, Channel 10, KWTX, like that's big time stuff.
Yeah.
But like we at some point have to remind Scotty, you don't work for them. They don't pay you. Like you're over here. You're with Rogue Media Network. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's like basically camping out at Channel 10. And maybe they're paying him on the side, but you work for the Mosley show.
Maybe he's making sure that y'all are all set to go from
no
the pregame.
That's unacceptable. Faith and I are both upset. Faith's another one. I can't get Faith on like a call. Faith, could you get a call? Could you do a call today with me? She's like, hey Matt, I got 11:30 tomorrow morning. I can work you in.
Well, you know, like, she's big now. She interviewed Mac Brown and Vince Young last week. She's big now. Oh my
gosh!
She's always been on the Texas Sports Hall of Fame podcast for us. But
yeah. I mean, you talk about somebody who's going to love us and leave us. It's going to be Faith. You know, first couple of games this season, everybody's going to be talking about how great she is, how old Mosley looks next to her, how awesome she is, and then. Like by game 3, she'll be like the SEC somewhere. She'll be off like the sidelines that's okay. While she's with us, we're going to enjoy this and we're going to watch her just spread her wings and fly. But, by the way, sign up for the pregame show for the YouTube show, the Green and Gold Game Day, and just search that. Green and Gold Game Day, and everybody needs to subscribe or however you do that. And then Z, put all our clips out today, all right? Because I think I don't really recall what our best moments were, but I just they're like snippets of things I think we did well.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean? Like I think if you really looked hard, you could find some good moments. All right, appreciate you, Z. You were great. I knew that would be the case. Scotty's like. I think he'll be on the Channel 10 News tonight. I think they've got him anchoring over there tonight. For Scotty Swingler, Zach Burke, Corey Dickman, Mike did some cool stuff earlier today. The Beard, Josh, my man Josh. For all of our friends at Rogue Media Network, I'm Matt Mosley. You've been watching The Matt Mosley Show. We'll see you later.